Hello and welcome to the North Country Outdoor Channel. I am Eric, and today I want to talk about the highly controversial 6-liter Powerstroke motor and my thoughts on it. Is it a good option? Should you buy one? Should you steer clear of it? But first I'm going to set a couple ground rules, because I know the comments are going to blow up on this video because some people love them, some people hate them. If you're like me, you love to hate it, and it's just, these are just my observations because I own one, and this is my opinions. And you also have to remember that I work this truck. I plow with it constantly. It's rarely just driving down the road not doing some sort of task. It's pulling a trailer, it's plowing snow, it's worked very hard. So if you've had a good experience with one and you haven't worked it hard, then your opinion doesn't really matter, because I'm talking about it for a work truck, which it's a diesel motor. It should be able to be a work truck. Now, I have a 2004 F250 with the 6-liter Powerstroke in it, and I bought it 2 years ago with a little over 100,000 miles on it, and it now has like 185,000 miles on it. I have had issues with this motor. Although I've had a lot of issues with the truck, not all of them had to do with the motor. Some of the issues that I've had with the motor, I've had on 2 separate occasions injector issues, which they're known for, which can get kind of pricey. It's about $400 an injector if you have a dealership replace them. And I've had all 8 of them replaced at one point or another. I've had I've also had issues with in the 2004 they did away with it in 05, but in the 04 in the intake there's like a flapper valve, and it's supposed to help the truck warm up, almost like a choke. And that started malfunctioning, and when I was driving down the road, that valve would shut and choke the motor out, and the motor would just die. So there was an issue with that. Apparently Ford got smart and did away with it in the 2005 and up models. And I've had issues with oil pan rotting out, which I think the 7.3 was known for that too, so I don't know if you can really blame that on the 6-liter. I also had issues with the exhaust manifolds rotting out, but now we can blame that on age, so I don't know if that's really a 6-liter issue. So what the big complaint about the 6-liter motor is that the head gaskets go bad. Well, the head gaskets go bad because the EGR cooler on the truck malfunctions. It fails. It overheats, it cracks, it allows coolant to get in places that it shouldn't go. The piston comes up, hits top dead center, there's coolant on top of the piston, it stretches the head bolts, therefore your head gaskets are toast. Now, this usually happens around 100,000 miles. Luckily for me, mine were replaced just before I bought the truck, but that'll cost you roughly $5,000 to get the head gaskets replaced. One way to eliminate that issue is to delete the EGR cooler, which my truck also has done to it. But the big problem is if you're looking for a truck that you could just jump in and drive and not have to worry about issues, then I would say that the 6-liter is not for you. If you're a person that is pretty handy with vehicles and you don't mind working on them and you can pick one up for cheap and do the modifications yourself, then by all means, I think it'll be a good truck for you. But my opinion is, I think what happened is Duramax came out with the 6.6 liter, and the 7.3 Ford motor or International was going away, and Ford rushed the 6-liter to market, and they didn't have enough testing done on it. And with that happening came a lot of issues, and those issues revolve around emissions, the EGR cooler and other emissions type things. I've heard of these motors being in military operations, being in street sweepers and whatnot, and they don't have any emissions on them, and they're going 400,000 miles, 500,000 miles without any issues. So that tells me that it's strictly an emissions issue. So I think they rushed it to market, and they didn't have enough testing done to it. And the big issue too is they put a lot of these motors in ambulances, and when you have a patient dying in the back and you have a 6-liter motor dying in the front, that's not a good combination. That's actually really bad. So there was ambulances piled up at dealerships trying to get fixed, and it was just a big fiasco. It was a big fail on Ford's part. But like anything else, as time goes on, people find fixes and they find ways around it, but unfortunately they cost money. As far as the motor itself, I love the motor. It's powerful, it's fast, it's everything that I want in a diesel motor. It's just I wish it didn't have the issues that it had. Unfortunately, I bought the truck 2 years ago for $15,000, which was a fair price for the truck, and I'm $40,000 into it at this point. Now, like I said, a lot of that was not to do with the motor. Some of it was I've had a lot of hub issues with it because I plow with it. I've had some axle issues. It blows through wheel bearings like crazy. I broke 3 leaf springs. I mean, all that stuff adds up, and it's mostly just because I work it so hard, which I'm not complaining about that. That's just the way it is. So you say you're $40,000 into it, why don't you just go get a different truck? Well, what can you imagine what kind of truck you could have had for the $40,000 that you have into it? I get that, but I'm just not at a point right now where I want to give up that truck to go, $40,000, $50,000, $65,000 in debt on a new truck. I don't want that debt right now. And then you say, well, you can't afford to keep fixing it either. I get that. I do. It's a freaking debacle. It's a dilemma, and I'm married to this truck at this point. I'm hoping now that after everything that I've done to it and the modifications that I've done to it, that it turns out to be I get some longevity out of the motor. I'd like to see 300,000 out of it before any major issues, and it's at 180, so we'll see what happens. Another thing that I did to it was the crankcase vent. They had going like into the turbo. I don't know why. All the crankcase nasty venting goes into the turbo. That was stupid. So I rerouted that. So basically you just undo it and then take a piece of 1-inch hose and then route it down underneath the truck so it can vent out into the ozone, destroying the ozone layer, because that's the way it is. This is in California, so I'm allowed to do that. I don't know. I like the truck. I think it's a gorgeous truck. I think Ford makes a gorgeous truck, but I think they really screwed up when they put this motor out, and then they decided to put out the 6.4 liter twin turbo. That was also a fail, and then now they have the 6.7 liter that I hear is pretty decent. Only time will tell, but my opinion on it is that, if you want a truck that you can work and then not really have to worry about too much stuff, do not buy a 6-liter. Don't do it. Don't get yourself wrapped into that. If you're a technician, a mechanic, and you want the project, it's a perfect truck for you because they are a nasty, nasty motor. They're crazy powerful. They're good when it comes to that stuff. So I know there's going to be a lot of hate towards me for this, but you know what? I got real world experience on this motor. It's not a pavement princess. It's not highway driven. This truck has worked very hard. What it was intended to do, what diesel motors are intended to do. This country runs on diesel motors. Everything that you buy from the store is brought to that store by a diesel motor. They're made to run. They're made to last. So that's what they should do. And the 6.0 Powerstroke has not lived up to that expectation for me. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. Again, I don't really care. I just want to put my opinion out there, and that's how I feel about it. Your mileage may vary. But yeah, that's pretty much all I need to say. Hey, just remember, you are amazing and you are beautiful. Tomorrow is a new day. Be creative and own it. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.